The movie begins with Captain Taylor's final report. His spaceship is preparing to land on a distant planet, and the team has been traveling across the infinite vastness of the universe for the past 6 months, passing nearly 7 centuries on Earth during this time. Because the spacecraft is traveling at almost the speed of light, the people who sent the crew on the voyage would now have died of old age, which is very unimaginable since the crew has not aged at all. The rest of the crew, including Dodge and Landon, as well as Stewart, the only woman, are already hibernating, and Taylor is soon to join them. Afterwards, Taylor takes an injection and falls asleep in a special capsule. The year 2673 is written on the calendar. Before the last leg of the journey, Taylor closed his eyes and fell into a deep sleep. Meanwhile, the shuttle crashes on an unknown planet that resembles Earth. The ship crashes into a lake, and the hibernation pods open, waking up the crew members. The team learns that Stewart has died due to a leaking pod. Water began entering the cabin, and the crew decided to abandon ship. Dodge immediately checked the planet's atmosphere and found that the planet's atmosphere is breathable. Taylor and Landon try to inform Mission Control about the incident, but discover that the ship has lost power. With no other option, they decided to abandon ship. They gathered a stockpile of supplies and then took turns jumping into the water. Before jumping, Taylor notices that the time is November 25th, 3978. All three board the boat and start moving towards the shore. Taylor responded to Landon's question by stating that they are 320 light-years away from Earth on an unidentified planet, which orbits a star in the Orion constellation, but Landon does not believe him. He knows that Taylor did not have time to look at the data on the ship. They gather their belongings on a rocky shore, and Dodge takes a sample of the soil. They only have enough supplies left for 72 hours. Taylor says that Stewart died about a year ago, and that the crew spent about 18 months in hibernation, during which 2,000 years have passed on Earth. Then, Dodge receives data from the soil, revealing that no plant can grow on this planet, but there is water on the planet, which increases the possibilities of life. Taylor sets a direction and the team starts walking. They cross several mountains one after another and walk for hours, but the area seems endless. The planet is very strange. There is lightning in the sky, but it does not rain. Rather, it rains in the sky itself. They almost become victims of landslides. Taylor reminded him that his loved ones died 20 centuries ago, so even if they returned, no one would remember them. The astronauts' water supplies are running out, but they still decide to continue the journey. Moving further, they discovered a plant in a barren and dry area, which convinced them that life was possible on the planet, and that there could be more plants further along. On the 3rd day of their journey, they find a new plant. As they proceed, mysterious human figures pursue them. After another mountain, they enter a land of greenery, where they find mysterious mannequins that act as scarecrows. The group explores the forest and water, takes off their clothes, and jumps into the water. However, their happiness doesn't last long when they spot footprints on the shore that look like human footprints. When the team turns to return, they find unknown creatures pulling off their clothes and backpacks. The astronauts reach the shore but find only a few things. They follow the creatures and discover a whole group of real humans who are plucking fruit from trees. The savages pay no attention to astronauts. Taylor sees a beautiful girl in the crowd. The natives do not speak and wear primitive leather rags. Suddenly, a deafening sound comes from the forest. The natives stop for a moment and then disperse. Armed horsemen attack the group from all sides and start firing. At first, it is difficult to recognize their faces, but later, it is revealed that the savages are being chased by apes, who are the most intelligent creatures on the planet. They trap, shoot, and hunt local humans like wild boars. Taylor knocked 2 of the pursuers from their horses by skillfully jumping over a hurdle, but became separated from his friends. Landon tries to escape and jumps over the lake from a great height, but it does not work. The apes catch him anyway. Dodge manages to escape the trap, but is shot in the back with 2 bullets. Meanwhile, Taylor also tries to run away but gets a wound in his neck, and he also falls. The captured humans are imprisoned in cages, while Taylor and the wild girl are brought to the hospital for first aid. The guards hate humans and consider them dirty animals and carriers of disease. Only Dr. Zira, an animal psychologist, disagrees with them. Taylor was later locked in her cell, and her body was cleaned with a stream of cold water. The next day, when Dr. Zira comes to see Taylor, she is surprised to see Taylor's glowing eyes. She thinks Taylor is different from the rest, and he is trying to say something. This is apparently the first case of its kind on the planet of the apes. However, Taylor is unable to speak because his throat is damaged, so the astronaut simply moves his lips. Just then, Dr. Zaus arrives at the facilities. Zira wants to show her discovery to Zaus, but like the guard, he also doesn't believe it and thinks Taylor is just an animal. He thinks that Taylor is simply trying to copy the behavior of other apes. Zira locked out Wild Girl with Taylor to observe Taylor's behavior. The scene changes, and we see Taylor in a giant cage with other humans. Zira meets her fiancé, archaeologist Cornelius, and takes him to see Taylor and his skills. Taylor tries to write a message on the sand for them, but no one pays attention to it. At that moment, Dr. Zaus arrives at them and again rejects Zira's pleas, as Taylor's message was erased by the Wild Girl. However, while passing by the place, the doctor noticed incomplete letters but erased them with his cane. Perhaps the intelligent monkey was not ready to believe that humans were capable of thinking and understanding. Zira approaches the cage and expresses her regrets to Taylor. Suddenly, Taylor steals a piece of paper and a pencil from him, writes on the paper, and reveals that his name is Taylor. Zira fitted Taylor with a collar and leash and took her to her home to understand him better. Taylor wrote about where he became literate. Apart from this, he also told about his space travel and his origin, which seem impossible to apes. Taylor asks what happened to her last surviving friend, Landon, and Zira and Cornelius say they don't know where he is. Taylor asked for a map of the area and, looking at it, explained that they were flying in a spaceship, but his ship fell into water. He also told the exact location of his ship. However, Zira and her fiancé find it unbelievable how something can fly through the air and that it is impossible to survive for 3 days in the place where they fell, as the conditions in the mountainous areas are so harsh. Zira believes that Taylor is living proof of Cornelius's ancient theory and that humans are the missing link between primates and apes. At that moment, Dr. Zaus enters the room and orders Taylor locked in a cage. Taylor is sleeping in his cage when the monkeys come and open the door to take Taylor away, but he manages to escape from the cage. Taylor enters a local museum where the exhibit is entirely made up of stuffed wild humans, Dodge among them. Shocked, he runs away onto the road but gets caught in a trap. After some time, the apes put a leash on Taylor and took him to a committee of religious and scientific leaders, where the gorillas prepared him for his trial. In the following scenes, the committee accuses Zira and Cornelius of deviating from the principles of ape religion and making a scandalous study of humans. The committee claims that Zira and a corrupt surgeon named Glenn conducted experiments on the injured Taylor, manipulating his mind and creating a talking monster. Zira tries to argue that the astronaut is not a simple savage but a living creature capable of thinking. Taylor wants to speak in his own defense but is not allowed. Cornelius says that Taylor is an alien from another planet, and his spaceship crashed in the forbidden zone of the eastern desert. However, the apes dismiss it as just a bad joke. They suggest Taylor see his teammates, whom he claims came with him. They take him to identify him, and he finds Landon, but Landon cannot speak due to brain surgery. This enrages Taylor, but the apes once again kidnap him. Zaus told the committee that Landon was brain damaged and had surgery to save his life, but that he would never be able to speak. Cornelius defends Taylor, saying that if Taylor has not come from another planet, then it is certain that he has indeed come from the Forbidden Zone, since he has described that area in detail. Cornelius himself has been to the area, and he has also found traces of ancient monkey culture there. According to Cornelius's theory, Taylor is the missing link between primates and apes, believing that apes evolved from humans. Zira says that if Taylor has not come from any other planet, then it means that he was born on this planet. The problem is not in the anatomy but in the brain, and that's true, but no one wants to hear that. Eventually he dismissed Taylor and accused Zira and Cornelius of heresy. At night, Zaus calls Taylor to his room, where he tells Taylor that Zira and Cornelius have been released on bail but will soon be put on trial for heresy. Zaus explained that he agrees with Cornelius's theory, and that Taylor is a missing link in evolution. He asks Taylor to reveal the location of more people like him and, in return, promises to save Taylor's life. Taylor again says he is an alien, but Zaus does not believe him. Zaus tells him that the eastern part of the desert where Taylor came from is considered uninhabitable for apes, so it has never been explored. He tries to find out if there is a forest beyond the Forbidden Zone because he thinks Taylor's clan may be in the Forbidden Zone, but Taylor honestly replies that he doesn't know. While Taylor is in prison, a young ape named Lucius, who is Zira's nephew, enters the prison and frees Taylor by knocking the guards unconscious. While leaving, Taylor also releases the wild girl from the prison, whom he names Nova. With Zira's help, they board a cart and begin their journey towards the forbidden area. Meanwhile, they meet Cornelius, who has brought some horses with him. Taylor explains that Zaus thinks there may be a forest in the Forbidden Zone, so he will try to find it. Zira and Cornelius have been accused of heresy and will not be acquitted unless they prove their theories, so they also want to accompany Taylor to the Forbidden Zone. because Cornelius had excavated a cave in that area a year ago and had found the remains of an ancient civilization. The caravan sets off and stops at the edge of the Forbidden Zone. Cornelius is ready to lead them to the cave, but then Zira notices Zaus pursuing them with armed guards. Taylor immediately takes out his rifle and fires, forcing his men to retreat. Taylor offers Zaus a deal. If Cornelius can prove that their culture is not the oldest and originated from humans, then he will acquit them. Zaus agrees and enters the cave with the group. In his searches, Cornelius shows the remains of a technologically advanced human civilization from before Simian history, which are impossible for them to identify. But Taylor identified artifacts such as dentures, glasses, a heart valve, and a talking human doll, proving that these ancient remains are traces of human civilization. At the same time, gunshots are heard from outside. It is Zaus's soldiers who are trying to attack Lucius. Taylor comes out with a rifle and kills one of the soldiers, causing the rest of the soldiers to flee. Taylor captures Zaus and demands a horse and supplies to continue his journey. Zaus eventually admits that he knew about the ancient human civilization all along. Man is a born killer who kills for sport, lust, or greed. The Forbidden Zone was once a paradise, but humans turned it into a desert centuries ago. The question in Taylor's mind is how monkeys evolved from humans and how evolution worked in reverse. But Zaus suggests that he not try to find the answer to that question, as it might hurt her. Taylor leaves the scene with Nova, while Zaus orders the soldiers to seal the cave and destroy the evidence. Furthermore, he told Zira and Cornelius that they still deserved punishment. On the other hand, Taylor and Nova follow the seashore when they suddenly see an unexpected and terrifying image: the remains of the Statue of Liberty, revealing that this supposed alien planet is actually Earth. Remembering Zaus's earlier warning, Taylor falls to his knees in distraughtness and begins to blame humanity for the world's destruction.